Hello everyone, my name is Rachel. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am here to talk about some 5-star predictions. So I'm going to be talking about books that I think I'm absolutely going to love and give 5 stars. I recently saw Tiff do a video on this topic as well as Victoria, so I'll of course link their channels down below. But I have only done this type of video one time before. That was back in like November or December of 2021. And so I just decided it was time to finally do another installment of this kind of video. I am very, very excited about all the books that I'm going to be talking about in this video. But yeah, these are all books that I plan on reading at some point in the near future. And like I said, I really think I'm gonna give these 5 stars. So let's just go ahead and jump into it. We have Up All Night with a Good Duke by Amy Rose Bennett. So this one is about Artemis. She is a finishing school teacher by day and a gothic romance writer by night. And then we have Dominic, who is a widowed and reclusive duke. And he is looking for someone to provide him with an heir and help him manage his Spitfire adolescent daughter. I believe she's about 15 years old. So the reason why I think I'm gonna give this one 5 stars is I really love single parent historical romances, even more than single parent contemporary romances for some reason. I'm not sure why that is, but I just already love the vibe of this book so much. And we have Artemis, who's a gothic romance writer, like what? And we love a reclusive duke. Like, I just have a feeling that this is going to tick a lot of boxes for me. So very excited about this one. So now let's get into the contemporary romances that I have. First up, we have Beautifully Broken Control by Catherine Cowles. This is book 4 in her Sutter Lake series. I read books 2 and 3 pretty recently, really enjoyed them. This is just a wonderful small town romance series with some suspenseful elements. You could maybe almost call these books romantic suspense just because that element kind of runs through the entirety of the story. I almost gave book 2, which was like Beautifully Broken Life. I almost gave that one 5 stars, and I've heard nothing but amazing things about this book in particular. Everyone that I know that has read this series has given this book 5 stars. So I really think I'm gonna love it. I don't know what it's about. I think I have an idea of at least who the heroine is, but I don't know who the hero is going to be. So I'm just really excited. Next up we have For Real by Alexis Hall. This is a book that Jen from the Book Refuge said is like her top favorite BDSM romance. If not one of her top favorite BDSM romances. I'm already sold on that alone. And I have read a book by Alexis Hall before. That was A Lady for a Duke. That is a very different book. However, that one is a very slow burn, character-driven historical romance, whereas I have a feeling that this book is going to have quite a different vibe. And I'm very intrigued because this is an age gap romance, but the older hero is actually the submissive and the younger hero is the dominant. And I haven't read an age gap romance quite like that before. Next up we have Eyes on Me by Sarah Kate. This is another book that I featured in my September TBR video. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, all of the books that I've mentioned so far were featured in my September TBR video. So that's why you might be having a feeling of deja vu if you watched that video. But this one is book 2 in her Salacious Players Club series, which is a series that centers around this sex and pleasure club. And this one is a step-sibling romance as far as I know. I already have the audiobook. This one is on Kindle Unlimited as well. And I have a feeling I'm gonna enjoy this one a lot more than Praise. Even though I liked Praise, I didn't absolutely love it just because, like, I've come to realize that the ex-boyfriend's dad trope is not my absolute favorite trope. It's a fun trope, but it's not my absolute favorite. And I think that is mainly why I didn't give that book 5 stars. But anyways, I think I'm gonna love this one so much more. We love the forbidden angst of a step-sibling romance every now and then. That just sounds really good. Next up we have Wait For It by Mariana Zapata. This is a book that I keep meaning to read. I keep meaning to read a Mariana Zapata book, at least one per year, but they're just such long books that I keep putting them off. But I do have the audiobook for this one, so I just need to pick it up. All I know is that this is a neighbor romance and the hero is a single father. That's it. That's all I need to know. I know I'm most likely gonna give this 5 stars because everything I've read by Mariana Zapata has been a 5-star read. There's something about her writing style that really works for me. Yes, these are extremely slow burn romances with very little steam, but her books are just, yeah, they're beautifully written. Next up we have Twisted Pride by Cora Riley. This is book 3 in her Camorra Chronicles series, which is a mafia romance series that is a spin-off of the Born in Blood Mafia Chronicles series. This is the book of this series that everyone, I feel like, has given 5 stars. Everyone is blown away by it. I believe that the hero of this one has been kind of the villain of the last couple of books. So I'm interested to see what kind of redemption arc we're gonna see. I'm just excited to get into this. I haven't given any of Cora Riley's books 5 stars yet, but I have a feeling that this one is going to be very different. We have yet another book that I featured in my September TBR. This is The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana. And this is one that Robin from Paperbacks and Planners talked about, and she compared it to The House in the Cerulean Sea, and she said that it's just an adorable witchy paranormal romance. That's it. I'm sold. I think I'm gonna love this, because if you're comparing something to The House in the Cerulean Sea, I am most likely going to love it and give it 5 stars. Next up, we have Eleanor and Gray by Brittany C. Cherry. I have finally started getting more into Brittany Cherry's backlist because I read Behind the Bars, what was it, early in August, and that book just completely broke me. Oh my god. But my first book that I had read by this author was The Gravity of Us, but that was all the way back in like the early part of 2021. And so I'm glad that I'm finally picking up more of this author's works, because I don't think anyone writes quite like Brittany Cherry. And Eleanor and Gray is one of those books that I feel like is a fan favorite, and the audiobook for this one has been sitting in my Audible library. This is also another childhood friends to lovers romance like Behind the Bars was. I think that Brittany Cherry writes those kind of romances really well. I have a feeling that this is going to completely break me and I'm going to sob, and I'm ready. I'm ready to feel all of the emotions that Brittany Cherry makes me feel. And I do have a stack of books that I own physically next to me, but I want to quickly mention some volumes of manga that I think I'm gonna love and give 5 stars. This next one is a given that I'm gonna give this 5 stars though. This is Sweat and Soap Volume 4. This is the most adorable office romance you'll ever read. That's all you need to know. That's really it. Yes, it does have a weird premise. Every time I talk about this series, I need to bring that up. But basically, Kotaro, the hero, is obsessed with the heroine's scent. Her name is Asako. They both work for a soap company, and that's how their romance starts, but their romance is so much more than that. And I've given the first 3 volumes 5 stars. There is something about this author's art style and writing that is on another level from most other manga that I've been reading lately. Yeah, this series is just incredible. Like, even if you don't read manga, like you have to check this one out. You just have to. So I'm very excited about reading volume 4 at some point soon in the future. This is also a series that I've been savoring. I find that whenever I'm reading a volume, I'm not flying through it like with other manga, because I just want to have a good time and just be happy and prolong the experience for as long as possible, basically. So I'm not rushing into the next volume. There's 11 volumes total. So there's not like a ton of content left for me to consume when you think about how long other manga series are. So yeah, like I don't think I'm gonna read this in the immediate future, but probably within the next month or so. And yeah, I can't wait. Next up, we have Imokoi Volume 3. This is the most adorable and sweet and wholesome YA romance that I've ever read, whether it be regular novels or manga. Like, this is just so adorable. I did not expect to love these volumes as much as I did, but I had to give both the first volumes 5 stars. Like, it's just that well done. You know, it's a very simple story. We have our heroine who, there's like this creepy man on the train trying to grope her, and the hero steps in and blocks that creepo and protects her. And so she tries to thank him, and he's just like, why? I didn't really do anything. Like, anyone would have done it. And she's like, no, not just anyone would have done it. And so from there, she develops a crush on him, and he develops a crush on her, and they start dating. And I love this couple so much because they clearly communicate with each other every step of the way. You know, anytime that they sense that the other person is maybe keeping something from them or is upset about something and isn't saying so, you know, they clearly talk it out. And we love that so much. That's the same with Sweat and Soap. Like, we love a healthy relationship where the couple are just clearly communicating with each other. I think we're all getting really sick and tired of the miscommunication trope at this point. So when we get a truly healthy relationship, like, you just can't help but like latch onto it. So yeah, volume 3 is set to come out, I think, next week, which is really, really exciting. Last but not least, for manga, we have Spy Family volume 3. So I read the first 2 volumes a couple weeks back, and this is one of those series that gets so much better with each volume that I read. I liked volume 1. It was like a solid 4-star, but volume 2 was almost a 5-star for me. I thought the plot was so much better than book 1. I thought the pacing was so much better. This is just a really adorable and wholesome and iconic and epic fake found family series, I guess, where we have Twilight, who's a spy, and for the sake of his mission, he needs to have a family. And so he goes into a marriage of convenience with this woman, Yor, who's an assassin. He doesn't know that she's an assassin, and she doesn't know that he's a spy. And then they adopt Anya, who is a telepath. And they're all keeping this big secret from each other. Anya knows who her parents are because she can read their mind, but her parents don't know who she is and who each other is. Did that make sense? I hope so. So I have a feeling that volume 3 is going to be leaps and bounds better than volume 2. And if that is the case, I'm definitely going to give it 5 stars. So I'm gonna stop talking about Spy Family because I could go on about it forever, but let's get into this small stack of books next to me. First up, we have Sapphire Flames by Eleanor Andrews. This is book 4 in their Hidden Legacy series. This is a series that is broken up into 2 different trilogies. So the first trilogy was about Nevada and Connor. This trilogy is going to be about Catalina and Alessandro. And the inklings that we got in the first 3 books of these 2 characters, I'm already obsessed. Oh my God. This is just such an incredible urban fantasy romance series. This cover is epic too. Oh my God, like obsessed. So the 3rd book of this trilogy, or the 6th book of this series as a whole, Ruby Fever, just came out last week. So now I feel like I can finally go into this 2nd trilogy and just binge them all and have an amazing time. And yeah, I have a feeling that I'm going to be quite obsessed with Catalina and Alessandro for sure. Then we have Moonstruck by Onley James. This is the 3rd book in her Necessary Evil series. This is one that is like a given that I'm gonna give it 5 stars. Like, I would honestly be so shocked if I didn't give this 5 stars because I absolutely adored the first 2 books of this series. If you don't know, this is a dark romance series that centers around the Mulvaneys. They are these 7 boys that were adopted by this scientist or this psychiatrist, Thomas Mulvaney, and all of these brothers are psychopaths and or sociopaths, and so they were raised to be vigilante killers, and so each book is each of the brothers' romances. And so what's interesting about this one is about Atticus Mulvaney and Jericho, and they're both serial killers in a way, and their meet cute is when they're both trying to kill the same person. Iconic, amazing. These are also somehow like the most wholesome and sweet and sexy romances, even though they center around serial killers. Like, I don't know how this author does it. Next up, we have a couple of books that I did talk about in my September TBR video as well, so I won't talk about them too much in this video, but we have The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. This is a book that I've heard so many of my friends just rave about. What's really exciting is that this is actually Ashley Poston's first adult romance novel. I have read and truly loved her YA books. But this one's just really interesting because it's about Florence, who's a ghostwriter for one of the most prolific romance authors in the industry, but she goes through a really bad breakup. So she doesn't want to write romance at the moment, but her editor is really pushing for her to submit a manuscript in like the next month or something. Lo and behold, said editor gets into a car accident and dies, and I think he starts haunting Florence, and it's also a romance. I don't know how this is gonna work. I haven't really read that many ghost romances, so I'm very intrigued, but I really love this cover. And then we have Always Practice Safe Hex by Juliet Cross. I'm finally reading this so soon because the audiobook is dropping on September 20th. I have been like dying to read this book, but I really love the audiobooks that they've been coming out with this series, so I've been making myself wait for the audiobook. But this is book 4 in her Stay a Spell series. This is going to be about Livy and Gareth. Livy is one of the Savoy sisters. They are witches. This takes place in New Orleans, if you didn't know. literally every book gets better and better, and I don't know how Juliet Cross does it, because I adored Wolf Gone Wild, which is book 1, with my whole heart, and somehow she has made me love each subsequent book even more. I have heard that this is the best book yet in the series, and I have a feeling that that's really going to be the case, because Gareth, the hero, he's a Grimm. That is a creature that we know like nothing about, and we've seen inklings of him like in the novella bind up, what was it, Walking in a Witchy Wonderland. There was a novella about Livy and Gareth, and like Gareth is hot. Like, I'm already so excited to read about him as a main character, and like, yeah, like this is gonna be amazing. I just know it. So we have 2 books left. First up, we have Real by Kennedy Ryan. I think it's kind of a crime at this point that I haven't read this book, but what I realized is that I think I'm hesitant about going into any more of Kennedy Ryan's books, because I read her Grip trilogy, and the last book of that series, not gonna lie, it kind of traumatized me. The couple goes through a lot in that book. It's called Still, and I just wasn't ready. So I have a feeling that I'm not ready for this book, but I know it's gonna be amazing. Also, I love that the first page of every chapter like has a director's chair. Like there's different like pictures for each chapter. Like this one has like stage lights and stuff. But I think I'm gonna love this, because this is about an actress and a director, and our hero, the director, discovers our heroine when she is performing as the lead role in a Broadway play. Like, come on, that sounds like it was written for me. And I do have the audiobook as well, and I've heard that the audiobook is incredible because there are multiple narrators and there's music involved, and like come on, I know I'm gonna love this, but I'm also not ready for what this book is gonna put me through. So there you have it. I hope to get to this soon though. And then last but not least, we have The Heir by Sophie Lark. This is book 1 in her Kingmaker Chronicles or Kingmaker series, which is a spin-off of the Brutal Birthright series. I very recently finally finished the Brutal Birthright series and really loved that series as a whole, but I've heard that all of the books in this series are just bops. They are straight up bangers. Like, so many people that I follow have given every book in this series 5 stars, so I think I'm gonna love this. But this basically centers around this school called like Kingmaker's Academy, that is a school for like mafia heirs, essentially. This one is a friends to lovers romance, and so this is like the 2nd generation story of the characters from the Brutal Birthright series. So this is going to follow the children of those couples. Very, very excited. I am obsessed with Sophie Lark's writing. I would be shocked if I don't give this 5 stars. So that's going to be it for this 5-star predictions video. I would love it if you would leave a comment down below if you want to discuss any of the books that I brought up in this video, or if you want to tell me about books that you plan on reading soon that you think you are absolutely going to love. And with all that being said, I would love it if you would leave a like and subscribe, and I thank you so much in advance if you do, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!